Sound speeds, and let me run a situation by you. You're working on a movie or television show indoors, and your boom microphone that's following the actor walking around is catching a little bit of wind noise because there's so much pressure in the air. What are your options? Well, obviously, you could do something like grab a wind killer or a spacer bubble, something like this from Bumblebee. And if you do something like this, then what you might run into is you can't get it all the way on your shock mount. That leaves extra space at the end, and if it doesn't fit it snugly because your shock mount is taking up so much room, then it's going to perhaps muffle the sound a little bit at the end because it's not snugly fitting this microphone. As much as I love this Cinela shock mount, I might need a different Cinela that is lower profile, allowing me to stick more of the microphone inside of this wind protection. Like that. Now let me see if it'll fit inside of this shock mount. And even then you'll notice that it is a bit on the tight side, pressing it all the way in. By the time I secure it, watch what happens. It is going to make a little bit of noise right there with the isolators touching this wind protection. And if you need any kind of fur, forget about it. It's just going to make too much noise. So perhaps the Cinela Cosi shock mount is not going to be the right tool for this. So let's try something like a Rycote Envision 7 Lyre. Well, it's not even going to fit inside of this shock mount. So let's try an Envision 6. While an Envision 6 will properly hold a DPA 4017B with a spacer bubble, it is very front heavy, and that could be kind of awkward if you're a boom operator trying to keep this thing from making noise. Now this DPA 4017B is part of a modular microphone system, meaning that you can take apart the different components and switch them out as needed. I will remove the B preamp and replace it with a C, so now it's even smaller. As much as I love the DPA 4017 capsule, it's not going to work with the C preamp on it. I mean, if I really wanted to jam it in there and make it hold something, that's pretty awkward, and I really don't like this at all. The DPA 4017C is indeed a small microphone, but it is by no means the smallest microphone being targeted towards the film industry and being sold in the market today. Microphone manufacturers are constantly trying to make smaller and smaller microphones. The Sennheiser MKH 8000 series is one example, but even the 8050 is not able to rival the small size of the DPA 4018C. The 4018C is barely big enough to be held properly by an Envision 6 Lyre, and that's not even including the teardrop windscreen this microphone comes with. And forget about needing additional wind protection. I mean, you could use my trick of putting electrical tape over the bottom of this in order to try to hold something like the Cinela Leonard Ball, but by the time this goes onto the microphone, all it's going to be doing is covering up the little slits, and it's going to sound muffled and like garbage, so you can't use this particular windscreen with this particular setup. So what are your options on a low-profile microphone? This is where Cinela breaks the internet by introducing a brand new concept in wind protection and microphone suspensions compatible with and even designed for low-profile microphones. This is Cosi. Right here is something you'll want to pay attention to. This may look like a small Zeppelin with a dead cat around it, but it is far more than that. A typical Zeppelin you have to disassemble, you have to undo a couple of screws, twist off a few pieces, maybe remove a piece of cloth and then untwist a few little knobs. Whatever you have to do, it takes to get to the actual isolators themselves. And there's going to be 2 or more of them inside of your shock mount. Then you have to take your microphone, balance it within the shock mount isolators themselves. Then make sure it's centered properly inside of your Zeppelin. Tighten them down, make sure they're not making any noise. The cable comes out, you have to route it just the right way, then you slide things back, you build everything back around there, and then there may be a click or something like that you have to troubleshoot down. It can be time consuming, and that's something you don't necessarily have a lot of on set. But with Cosi, it's a lot more simple. You simply go to the back, you do a quarter twist counterclockwise, and slide out the microphone holder. That's it. Now I'm going to reassemble this, and I guarantee it's going to be faster than it would be if you were following along by putting a microphone inside of one of your own Zeppelins. I'm going to slowly take this DPA 4018C and slide it inside of the microphone holder and click it in place. Now I'm going to align these 2 red dots in the 9 o'clock position on the Cosi, putting it inside and giving it a quarter of a turn to the noon position. Now all I need to do is attach up the little piece that holds the cable, and it is ready to go, and it's dead quiet. Now let's talk about the build quality. With the exception of the piece that the microphone holder connects to, the entire outer framework of the Cosi is made of the same kind of material that you will find on the inside of the Cinela Leonard Ball, Piano, or Pianissimo, with exception of this outer material right here. that is used as a light wind cover in case you just need light wind protection against, quick swings and that kind of thing. Now, if you do need to have additional wind protection, you do have the option of the fur. But that is not an option on the Cosi. If you could imagine it just being the fur itself over the top of the framework, well, that's what we have on the Cosi. The Cosi does not pretend to be as effective at wind protection as the Piano or Pianissimo, but then it does have one less layer of material on the inside, allowing it to be a little bit more acoustically transparent. And because it comes in various different sizes, it will work on different size low-profile microphones. I ask that you wear headphones when listening to this comparison. You're currently listening to the sound outside of the Cosi. You're currently listening to the sound inside of the Cosi. The cabling, height, distance off the mic, and everything else is the exact same. As best as I can control. The only difference is the mic is outside the Cosi. The mic is inside of the Cosi. As you know, different microphones have different diameters, so you have to match up the right microphone with the right microphone holder in order for it to work properly with the Cosi. Now, this is currently set up for a 19mm microphone, and let's say I wanted to switch this out with one for a mini CMIT. In order for me to do so, I take my middle finger, put it inside of the holder until it touches the XLR connector. And you see these little bitty pieces right here? I'm going to call them holders. I'm going to take my thumb and press it on the inside of one, take my other thumb and put it on the inside of the other, gently press out while pressing, and naturally it's going to just fall away. So I'm going to replace this now with one designed for a mini CMIT. Now, you notice these two little dots on there. They come in different colors matching whatever microphone it is designed for. The mini CMIT is blue, therefore it is blue dots that we look for. The button of the XLR connector is going to align with those two dots and press directly between the two of them until it fits on the inside. Now it's ready to receive your microphone. We've already talked about how easy the microphone goes inside of the Cosi and how the strain relief works on the cable. But this cable's all kinked up and that doesn't look right. So how do we make sure that it is not going to be twisted the wrong way? Well, I'll tell you this, Cinela has thought of that as well. Let's stick this inside and you will see why this matches up perfectly. It looks like an S. And if you need to have something as a cheat sheet, the Cosi is completely wrapped in fur. There's no weak point, unlike some Zeppelins that have a little slit on the bottom where the fur kind of wraps around and attaches. That's a weak place for wind to get in if it's not secured properly. And this has none of that. The cable coming out of the back of the microphone holder is quite rugged. You could tug on it a bit and it's not going to give. And the cable itself is very thick and it feels very good and moves around all over the place. Not to mention the fact that this cable is completely isolated from the place where the boom would plug in by these isolators, the same kind of isolators you would find on other Cinela products. And because it is holding the entire outer framework of the Cosi, it is completely isolated. That's why it's so quiet, because the entire enclosure and everything is completely isolated from your boom pole. That is just, to me, it's an amazing innovation. The Cosi, just like many of the microphones that fit inside of it, is designed with modularity in mind. For example, let's say I connect up a boom pole right here, and I don't like the fact that the microphone is hanging down so low. I do have the option of changing this default position that Cinela recommends to right here, where it's more centered on the Cosi. But that's not it. Let's say you use a plug-on transmitter that hangs off on the side. Well, all you do is take this violin screw right here, you twist it off, and then once it is almost completely off, you have the option of spinning this around to whatever position you want. There's 4 positions actually, all around 90 degrees from each other, allowing you to connect this up to, let's say, the back or the front or the side, wherever you want it to go. And then you simply tighten the violin screw and you're good to go in whatever position you like. This violin screw allows you to remove this connector right here and then from the microphone holder at the other end and replace that entire cable as one piece. Or if you wanted to, you could replace just this piece, or just this piece, or just this piece, or just this piece. It is completely modular even in how you could do repairs should it happen to break. This is a short Cosi. This is a long Cosi. See the difference? There's also a medium-length Cosi with a cabling on the back very similar to that is found on the long Cosi. And it is very important for you to match up your microphone with the Cosi that it's going to be working with. For example, the DPA 4018C, if I put it on the inside of the short Cosi, it's going to work great. There's going to be wind protection all around it, and the microphone capsule itself is going to be sitting surrounded evenly by air in all directions. But if I were to try to put this on the inside of the long Cosi, then it's going to have 1.5 miles of space, basically double the length that it needs to in front of the microphone capsule. That's too much. It needs to be balanced all the way around. So therefore, this would be more designed for the Mini C-Mitt or the DPA 4017C, something like that, but not the 4018C. On the short Cosi, the default position for the boom to plug in on the Cosi itself is going to be in the back position, not the front. Unlike on the medium and long length Cosis, where they recommend that you put it fixated to the front. Now here's something cool about the back position if you're using this with, let's say, a DXLR doing EPK work. This is an optional cold shoe adapter, and to attach, all you do is connect it up to the back fixation point, or the front in all honesty. But it is recommended you use your boom on the front, and then when you want to take it off of your boom pole and connect it up to your DSLR, you can do so without even removing either one of these fixation points. You simply unscrew your boom, connect up the hot shoe or cold shoe in this case to your DSLR, and it's ready to go. You can leave this on all the time and leave this on all the time. It's awesome. It's very easy to adjust the angle of the Cosi, and once you pick the right angle, you simply tighten it just a little bit and it is going to hold its angle perfectly. So what do you say we test the wind protection of the Cosi using an anemometer? Oh yeah! So what do I think of the Cosi? It's small, it's light, it's extremely effective, and it allows me as a boom operator to use low-profile microphones when I am trying to get between an actor and a low ceiling above them. I can now do that. I wasn't able to before without sacrificing that wind protection, only to hear a sound mixer say, you need to put wind on that, and I say, I can't, because there is nothing that's going to work with this low-profile microphone. Then it's ineffective. But no longer. Plus, because the Cosi works great on DSLR cameras, there's going to be a big market in wedding videographers or anybody doing ENG sound work on a film set. That is going to be awesome because I find it to be more effective than something like a furry wind cover on an XLR shotgun. Cinela, you have outdone yourself. This has been designed from the ground up with sound quality and quietness and low profileness in mind. 2 big thumbs up from me here at SoundSpeeds. You got to get yourself a hold of one of these. Let me point out that this is a pre-series Cosi. This is not a prototype, nor is it the final manufactured product, but it is practically the manufactured product that you will receive, with exception of maybe 1 or 2 little tweaks that they're going to do to make this one even better by the time it reaches you. Cinela sent me 2 of these Cosis to use in this review. Now, full disclosure, in exchange for doing a fair and honest review, I get to keep one of them. And I honestly have no idea which one I'm going to pick because I have microphones that will fit both of them, and they're both awesome. Quite amazing, don't you think? Cinela has made it possible for us boom operators to finally boom people with low-profile microphones when we need that wind protection that we have not had before. No other product to date has made it where we can actually do that. So mixers, take note, find out what size Cosi you need for your microphones, and get 1 or 2 or whatever you need. That is sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.